Are you interested in moving to the United States, possibly bringing your children and your spouse to the United States also, so that your children can study in the United States and your spouse can potentially work in the United States? Or maybe you're a US citizen and you've sponsored your siblings and you don't want to wait 10 years for the time it takes for the green card to become available. In this video, I'm going to be talking about an option that is perfect for someone in either of those situations. It is the E-2 visa, and I would call this the best kept secret in immigration. So, what is the E-2 visa? It is the treaty investor visa. And don't let that intimidate you, investor visa. It's not necessarily for some kind of, you know, business tycoon investor who's going to be setting up some major business in the United States. It's a modest, simple investment is sufficient. So I'm going to explain to you how this visa works. First of all, to the left, you can see there's a list of eligible E-2 countries. And if you're from one of these countries, you could potentially apply for an E-2 visa. As you can see, the Commonwealth countries are represented from Canada, Australia, United Kingdom. You can also see various European countries. You can see Asian countries. You can see African countries, South American countries, basically countries all over the world, Central America, from Mexico to Pakistan to Turkey to Taiwan to you name it. There's just so many countries. There's about 80 countries on the list. So you can pause the video to see if your country is on this list. Now, what is an E-2 visa? An E-2 visa is a visa that enables the person who holds the visa to enter the United States, remain here, leave if they want, and the point is that they're here to manage and develop an investment that they made in the US. The next question is, what qualifies as an investment in the US? So what qualifies is just enough of an investment so that your investment will be able to provide more than a minimal living for the treaty investor and the investor's family. And you have to prove a future capacity to do more than just self-support. So what that means is, in simple terms, within 5 years, is your business going to generate significant income so that it can pay other employees to work in the business? That's a simple way of looking at it. Another thing is how much money needs to be invested. And this is where a lot of attorneys even get it wrong. And I just don't understand. I mean, the regulations are clear, but for some reason, people believe that there's a dollar limit. I've seen even websites from attorneys saying over $200,000 is needed for an E-2 visa, which is totally wrong. In my personal experience, the lowest I've ever been able to get an E-2 visa for someone was $10,000 investment, where they put $10,000 into the equipment and rent to start up a medical practice. And the amount invested just depends on how much you need to get the business off the ground, whatever the fair market value is for the business if you're also purchasing an existing business. And another way to approach it also is you could put money into an escrow account and not actually even make the investment. And because people are like, why will I make an investment if I don't even have the visa yet? Fair enough. If you would like, you can also put money into an escrow account and then apply for the visa. And once the visa is approved, the escrow account agent will then put money into the investment as required by the escrow agreement. Now, what are some examples of E-2 businesses? It's very open-ended. Any kind of business will qualify as long as it's a legal business. And you can have service businesses, as I mentioned, medical services, IT, professional services, dental offices, legal services. You can have cleaning businesses. You can have restaurants, food markets, car mechanic shop. As you can see, there's a broad range of different types of businesses. Can you bring your family and can your spouse work in the US? Absolutely. You can bring your spouse and kids, as I mentioned earlier. And the thing is, a lot of times the dependent is more employable than the investor. What I mean is it's kind of used as a loophole where the dependent who wants to work in the US and perhaps they don't have the opportunity to get an H-1B at the time, but they want to get some kind of work permit so that they can work in the US at various companies, they will be the one that's going to be the dependent because when they get the work permit, they can work anywhere. They actually have more flexibility with where they can work than the investor. So that's an interesting fact. Another thing is how long does it take to get the visa? If you apply at the consulate, it's just a couple days, maybe a couple weeks at the most. And if you apply in the US, you can do premium processing. Otherwise, it'll take a few months. But if you do premium processing, which costs a little bit extra, you can get the case processed in 2 weeks. Now, how long can you stay on E-2? You can stay in the US for a very long time. You can get a 5-year visa initially for most countries, and you can renew it for another 5 years. I've seen cases where people have it renewed and renewed again. So a very extensive period of time can be spent on E-2. Now, the final question people ask is, what about green card? It's possible if you increase the investments that you've made to $500,000 or to $1 million, depending on the location, you can either do 500 or $1 million and create 10 jobs. You can apply for an EB-5 to get a green card. Also, if your spouse is working somewhere and the company sponsors them, they go through the employment-based sponsorship process. You can get a green card through that process. So there's one last thing I want to go over, which is not even in this guide, which is the negative control case, which means 50-50 ownership. So in the Foreign Affairs Manual, they talk about a scenario where it's called negative control, where if one party owns 50% and the other party owns 50%, let's just say you got two people from Japan and they each put 50% in the business. They own 50% of the business. And they set up maybe a sushi restaurant or something or whatever have you. And what happens then is both of them can actually get a visa as the primary investor, as equal investors. And both of them can respectively bring their own families to the United States. One business supporting two sets of families. So that's another trick of the trade, you could say, when it comes to filing E-2 visa cases. Well, that's about all I wanted to go over. This is the basic information of the E-2. And if you're interested in finding out more, feel free to contact me. I'm an immigration attorney. My name is Hassan Abdullah. I'm the president and managing attorney of the American Visa Law Group. You can call us at 510-500-1155, or you can email the firm at info@usavisa.law.com, or you can also visit us online at usavisa.law.com. Well, thanks for watching this video. Again, I hope this has been helpful to you, and that's all for me. Bye for now.